Hello everybody, welcome to one more lesson here at the Brazilian Drum Lab. Today we're gonna focus on the brushes. I'm gonna show you 3 different patterns that are very useful when you play Brazilian music. Believe it or not, but I have gotten a lot of work because I know how to play brushes. So I'm gonna show you some technique here in front of you so you can see how the motion is done. And then I'm gonna show you some footage from a different angle. And then I'm gonna play with a track so you can see how to apply the technique. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so for today's lesson, I'm gonna use the Vic Firth Heritage brush. It's the one that is purple and have a very good sound, and also the wires are very flexible. I like that because when we play Brazilian music, especially if we're doing slow bossa novas, the flexibility of the wires are very useful because you want to work with dynamics. Okay, on my left hand I'm gonna use traditional grip. So I have the fulcrum here on my thumb, and I have the traditional grip with my fingers, with 2 fingers on top and 2 other fingers in the bottom. Okay, on the right hand I'm gonna use match grip. All right, I like to have the little metal touching the palm of my hand right there. Okay, so I have a lot of flexibility, and the fulcrum for me here on the right hand is the thumb and middle finger. Okay, so that's the technique, how you hold the brushes. All right, the first pattern that we're gonna check it out is the one that we keep the brushes in touch with the drum head. I like to go from left to the right. That's the continuous motion. We always gonna be focusing and keeping the 60 notes subdivision happening all the time. Okay, so the first movement that we're gonna check it out is the right hand. So I'm gonna always think that downbeat of 1, end of 1, downbeat of 2, and end of 2 is on the left side of my snare drum. And the E and As are on the right side. Okay? So when I start, I'm gonna go on this direction. That's gonna be downbeat of 1. So 1, E, and da, 2, E, and da. 1, E, and da, 2, E, and da. All right? Notice that when I go to the edge, I do a little whip with my wrist so I can mark the 60 note subdivision. 1, E, and da, 2, E, and da. The index finger helps me to do the accent. And when I doing this motion, right, I almost thinking about an infinite sign. The infinite sign is always, in my mind when I doing this motion. And when I go to the edge, I do the little whip. If you need more accent, you wanna hit a part of the rubber here, the beginning of the brush, okay, of the shaft. So 1, E, and da, 2, E, and da. 1, E, and da. 2, E, and da. So check it out, the left hand. The left hand is gonna be doing circular motion in the bottom half of the snare drum. Okay? So when I'm playing here, if I'm doing a very slow bossa nova or a ballad or like a bolero or something like that, I'm gonna augment this circle. I'm gonna really try to do circular motion, okay, with the brush. If I'm playing a little faster, this circle is gonna become a little bit more elliptical. All right? So what I do is when I go up here, I open my fingers in the left hand. Look, 1. Okay? And when I come down, I squeeze the stick in order to have an accentuation here, right? So 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. So basically, when I do the E and A's, I open, and when I come down for the downbeat of 1, end of 1, downbeat of 2, end of 2, I squeeze the brush so I can have a little accentuation, right? 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1. As I get faster, the circular motion gets a little smaller. If I'm playing slow, the circular motion gets wider, okay? And check it out. I always try to get this accentuation when I do the press. I try to catch the crispy side of the snare drum. Usually the middle of the drum head usually is, is a little bit more smoother. But when you go to the edge, you have a little bit more of the texture of the original drum head when it's new, when they come new, right? They are a little bit more crispier here on the side. So that helps also with accentuation. So 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 3 E and da, 4 E and da. Okay? So always accentuation towards my stomach. Okay? So as you notice, I do clockwise motion. There are some people that like to do counterclock motion. Okay? So if you are used to do counterclock motion, you have to try to find a way of emphasize the accentuation. 1 end, 2 end. Okay? When you're doing this motion. Hey there, how do you like the video so far? The Brazilian Drum Lab is here to help you to increase your knowledge about Brazilian rhythms. So please, click the link below, sign up today for the community, and get your free PDF of this lesson. Make sure to watch this video until the end. Let's continue. Putting together is like that. When I start, my hands will cross, and that's gonna be downbeat of 1. Okay? So open, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. If I'm doing slower, you wanted that consistency of the brushes. Faster, you can diminish the motion if you get faster. If you choose to have the wires touching the drum head all the time. Okay? When you are in a recording session and you have a microphone here, it creates a very nice sound, very consistent. Okay? So depending of the volume, if you want more sound, you press more the wire. If you want less sound, you're gonna use more the tip and be more delicate, more sensitive with the wire. Okay? So check it out. Even though I'm touching the drum head all the time, I'm still able to play patterns with my right hand. As I do the whip going side to side, I'm able to play patterns. The accentuation. I can emphasize the 16 notes. So check it out. I can play a basic pattern, Bossa Nova pattern, only doing the whip when I go side to side. Check it out. So as you notice, I'm playing the pattern with the wires on the snare, but with the whip, I'm able to emphasize some accentuations. And these accentuations will vary depending of the song. You can always accompany the piano player or accompany the guitar player or being together with the singer when she's singing the melody. Okay, so you have to be able to apply the accentuation in different sides of the snare drum. Okay, this second pattern that we're gonna do, it's similar, but this time we're not gonna touch the wires on the head all the time. All right, we're just gonna go from side to side and hit the front of the wires. Okay, the tip of the wires. So we can have a very distinct 16 notes. The motion is gonna continue to be the same. One and two and on the left side, and E and As on the right side. Okay, so basically we're gonna do this motion here, starting here. 1 E and A, 2 E and Da. Okay, notice that I'm not doing this too high. Okay, you want to avoid that. You want to always to be parallel to the snare, okay, with a very controlled motion. Okay, you want to save energy while you're playing the 16 notes. Okay, so 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da. If you need more volume, of course, you're gonna use more of the wires. 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da. Okay, so depending of the volume, you're gonna use the wires in the tip, more volume, a little bit more. If you want more, you're gonna hit the rubber. 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da. You notice that there are a different of sound. Let me show you again with the tip of the wires. A little bit more. And with the shaft. Okay, so try to do different dynamics while you're playing the brushes. Okay, in my hand, if you notice, I'm doing this. Okay, there is a certain motion on the wrist that you're gonna need for this technique or this technique. Okay, your wrist is gonna be doing this. Okay, side to side. All right, the left hand continues to be the same thing, clockwise motion. Okay, it's the same technique that we used on the previous pattern. All right, so when we start, it's gonna be cross. Okay, all right. If you decided that you want your 1 and 2 and to be on the left side, that's okay too. The important thing is to make sound really good and consistent. Okay, I like to play starting on the left. Okay, because I'm a right-handed, the position of my drums, as you see, is like this, is clockwise motion. So in Brazilian music, you know, we have a lot of syncopations, right? Especially the E and the As. So for me, it's easier to have the E and the As going towards the drum set. So when I'm here, I can play the E and the As in the rest of the drum set. So when I start the pattern, it sounds like this. 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da, 1 E and Da, 2 E and Da. Again, if you need more volume, you use more of the wires. Okay, if you need more, use a little bit of the shaft of the brush. Here, the same thing. If you need to play a tambourine pattern, for instance, okay, the ones that we have studied in previous lesson, the samba tambourine pattern, I'm able to do the same thing here. I'm gonna apply accentuations in different sides of the snare. It's gonna sound like this. 1 E and da 2. Left, left, right, left, left, left. So you can play many different patterns only by using the accentuation. This pattern that I'm using also is very useful when you're playing fast sambas, right? And you wanna diminish the motion of the brush, okay? Instead of going all the way to the edges, when you get faster, you wanna minimize the motion. Left hand, a little bit more elliptical, and the right hand is gonna be closing a little bit more to the center, okay, instead of going to the edge, okay. So 1 again, that 2 again, that 3. If you want to use only, one side of your snare to play the 16, okay, you can do it. The reason that I use the continuous motion, most of the time, is because it has a different, sound in different parts of your snare drum. Especially if using a mic in a recording session, the accentuations, will have a different, dynamics and texture, okay, when you're doing this one, instead of just skipping in one side of the snare. Concentrate here on the left and open on the right, right? Or vice versa, you can open on the left and close on the right side, okay? Okay, so you have different options here, all right? I have sometimes used only playing here, but I always like to do this motion. 1 again, that 2 again, that. If you have to play slow, okay, this is a very basic pattern, but super useful. Okay, this next one is a little bit more fancier. The motion is a little bit more complicated, but I bet you're gonna be able to figure out. So in this case, for this third pattern, we're gonna do right hand is gonna come from the top to the right side and then to the bottom towards my stomach. Okay, so it's gonna be 1 E and A, 2 E and A. Okay, so E and A continues to be on the right side. Okay, so 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. Okay, I'm definitely using a little bit of the shaft of the brush because I want to hear that accentuation. So I do a little whip with my wrist. 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. If you want to start in the bottom, no problem. You can start in the bottom. 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. Okay, it's your option. Sometimes when I'm playing this pattern, my 1 and 2s downbeats, they moved. Sometimes it's gonna be in the bottom or sometimes in the top. All right, it doesn't matter. The important thing is for you to have that motion. Okay, the left hand is gonna be doing a kind of arch, like a letter C. All right, and when I go here to the top, I'm gonna put a little bit more effort, a little bit more accentuation, so I can get the crispiness of the snare drum and a little accent. Okay, so it's gonna sound like this. When I start, the left hand is gonna be in the bottom and my right hand on the top playing downbeat of 1. So it's gonna be 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da, 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da, 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da, 1 E yen da. When I do the left, I squeeze a little bit. If you can notice my hand, I do a little bit of accentuation. 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da, 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da, 1 E yen da, 1 E yen da, 2 E yen da. So I continue accenting downbeat of 1, end of 1, downbeat of 2, end of 2 with my left hand. The same thing that we did in a circular motion for the other patterns. 1 E and da, 2 E and da. Here I'm gonna have 1, okay? So 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1, okay? 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da. Here also you can do accentuations accordingly with the melody. Okay, so you can use the shaft to play the accent. Okay, if you want to move directions, change directions, you can do it. You can make the first pattern that we play, and then for this other variation. These patterns that I'm playing for you, I learned with the great Hélio Schiavo, a Brazilian drummer that lives in New York, and also from the great Dom Romão. I had opportunity to hang out with these cats, and they showed me how to play these patterns. Also, other players that I got information about it and inspiration about playing with the brushes are Dudu da Fonseca, Paulo Braga, Portinho, and Vanderlei Pereira. All drummers that I used to follow while I was living in New York. So these patterns are very useful, and I bet you're gonna be able to use in some of your gigs when you're playing Brazilian music. Okay, so let's check it out, the other footage from the top, so you can see the motion, from a different angle. Okay, let's go. 2. One yanda, 2 yanda. Third pattern. All right, I hope you enjoyed the lesson. So now the next step for you would be to start finding recordings with the great composers like Antonio Carlos Jobim, João Gilberto, Roberto Menescal, and many, many others. Try to find out tracks that you can play along. All right, they don't need to be fast. The important thing is for you to be able to apply the technique with the brushes. All right, in the market right now, you can find a lot of different kind of brushes, right? So try to find something that is suitable for your hands, fits perfect with your hands and has a nice feel. Remember, for me, I like the brushes that have nice flexibility with the wires, right? So for this lesson, I use the Vic Firth Heritage brushes, okay? So, but there are many, many others that have different texture, the wires are a little bit more strong. So you can find a lot of different brushes that is gonna fit perfect with your hands. So please let me know what you think. If you need to get in touch with me, please send a message here in the community. download the PDF that's going to be available for you, and let me know what you think. Okay? I'll see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching the lesson. This is just the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot of more information that I would love to share with you. If you are serious about leveraging your drumming skills, then make sure to sign up to the community, get your free PDF, and let's book a call. Click the like button and sign up today. And I'm looking forward to hear from you. And don't forget, here at the Brazilian Drum Lab, the beat never stops. I'll see you soon.